Hi, I'm Jake with Hayneedle. Today I'd like to walk you through the assembly process of the practical Espresso Kitchen Island. This assembly should take you roughly an hour and a half, and the only tools required are a hex wrench, which is provided, and a Phillips head screwdriver, an optional flathead screwdriver, which are not provided. First, I like to take all the content out of the box and do a brief inventory to make sure I have all the parts and pieces necessary for this assembly. To start off, we're going to grab our drawer left side labeled as V, our drawer right side labeled as W, our drawer front labeled as T, our drawer bottom labeled as Y, 4 of our screws labeled as 5, as well as a Phillips head screwdriver and a flathead screwdriver. Alright, I've grabbed piece V and piece T. I've aligned the holes, making sure that the roller is farthest away from piece T. Grabbing 2 screws and tightening down using our Phillips head. Now grab piece W and your 2 remaining screws and repeat on the opposite side. Now grab your drawer bottom and slide it into the grooves provided. Now grab piece X, which is your drawer back, and slide it over your drawer bottom and attach it to the sides using 4 more of your screws labeled as 5 and tighten using your Phillips head. Now we have some options. For our handles, we can go with steel or wood, and they come with a corresponding screw, which I will put into the hole provided. Attach our handle. You can tighten this with your flathead or your Phillips head. Now you want to repeat the same process on your second drawer. Next, we can grab our side panels labeled as C and D, as well as 2 of our sliders, one labeled as 1 and one labeled as 2, and 4 screws labeled as 3. Now in piece C, we're going to use our slider labeled as 1, and the first hole next to the roller is where our screw will go. Just tighten that down with our Phillips head. Now on the other end of our slider, the 5th hole from the end should line up over top of a pre-drilled hole to where our second screw will go. Repeat the process with piece D and slider 2. Next, we can grab our bottom piece labeled as G, and again we have some options. We can go with casters labeled as 15 and 16 and the corresponding screws labeled as 17, or wooden legs labeled as 14, as well as 4 wooden dowels labeled as 12 and 4 screws labeled as 13. So I've gotten with the wooden blocks. I'm going to insert one of the dowels in the hole provided, insert it into the bottom piece, aligning our screw holes. Let's go ahead and insert that and tighten down using the hex wrench provided. Now we can repeat the process with the 3 remaining legs. After you've completed that step, we can grab our front apron labeled as H, our magnets labeled as 8, as well as 4 of our screws that correspond with the magnets. Just align the holes and tighten down using our Phillips head. Now I've grabbed our bottom piece labeled as G and our 2 sides, C and D, as well as our front apron. I've also grabbed 6 of our screws labeled as 4 and 2 of our wooden dowels. Now I've taken piece G with the groove on the top, as well as piece C with the groove on the top and the roller on the bottom there. Taking one of our screws, just going to insert it in the holes provided and tighten down using our hex wrench. After those screws are tightened down, we can grab our front apron and a wooden dowel, put it in the hole provided, and slide it in the corresponding hole. Take another one of our screws and our hex wrench, and tighten on the other side. Now we can repeat the process with our right side panel. Now we're going to take our mid panel and a wooden dowel. On the side with the rollers, we're going to add our wooden dowel into the hole provided. and slide it into our front apron. Now on the bottom, we're going to take 2 of our screws labeled as 4 and our hex wrench and tighten them down. Now we can take our back bars labeled as L and 2 of our wooden dowels have gone ahead and inserted into the ends. And then on our bottom piece in the groove, there's 2 pre-drilled holes. We can just insert those in. Now we're going to take our back panels labeled as K and drop them down in the grooves provided. Next we can take our knife rack labeled as M and 4 of our wood screws labeled as 5. Take our Phillips head screwdriver and tighten those into the pilot holes provided. Next we can grab our left and right hanging bars labeled as N, as well as our wooden bar labeled as O, and 4 of our screws labeled as 4. We can just align the pre-drilled holes and tighten using our hex wrench. Now before attaching your other hanging bar, place the wooden bar in between and align the holes and tighten into place using your screws and hex wrench. For this next step, we're going to go ahead and grab piece F, which is our top panel, as well as 4 wooden dowels, which I'm going to go ahead and place in our back panel here. Our piece is labeled as L. And then the side on F that has the groove down here, go ahead and align our holes and place onto the wooden dowels. Now we can take our screws, and I don't know where they go. Now we can tighten down our top panel using our number 4 screws into our middle panel. Now we can take our 4 remaining screws labeled as 4 and insert on the side to tighten down our top panel. Next we can grab our left mid-side panel labeled as I, as well as 6 of our screws labeled as 6. And align them with our pilot holes and tighten down using our Phillips head. Once all your screws are in place, we can repeat the process with our right mid-back panel labeled as J and 6 of our screws. This next step is pretty simple. We're going to take our top front panel and our top back panel labeled as A and B, as well as 3 of our hinges labeled as 19 and 18 of our screws labeled as 6. We're just going to align our hinge with our pilot holes and tighten down our screws using our Phillips head. Next, I've grabbed 2 wooden dowels and placed them in the holes provided over our middle panel. And we'll just take our top front panel and place it over the dowels. Now that the top is resting on the dowels, we can take 8 of our wood screws labeled as 20 and our Phillips head and just find the pre-drilled holes and tighten them into place. Now we're going to take 4 of our door pins labeled as 10 and insert them in the holes provided. Now that our door pins are in place, we can grab our left and right doors labeled as S and R, there should be 4 of them, as well as a few more of our door pins, which we can go ahead and insert in the hole in the top. Grab our magnetic plates and corresponding screws, which are labeled as 9, and insert into the pilot hole and tighten down with our Phillips head. After tightening down your magnetic plates, grab another one of your steel handles and corresponding screw and attach using your screwdriver. Now you can repeat those same steps for the 3 remaining doors. Now we can take our doors with a hole in the bottom, place it over our door pin on the bottom, and push the pin down on top, and slide it under our front apron until it locks into place. And repeat with the 3 remaining doors. Now we can grab 10 of our shelf supports labeled as 11 and insert them in the holes provided, depending on which height you would like. I'm grabbing Q for the right side, which is our shelf, and set it on our supports. And repeat the process with P in the other side. After the shelves are in place, we can grab our 2 drawers we finished in the first step. Slide them over the rollers, and put them in place. And just like that, you finished your Espresso Kitchen Island. Hope this tutorial has helped. Thanks for watching.